How do you think that you would feel if you heard the audible voice of God? Or better yet, how do you think you would feel if you heard the audible voice of God telling you were going to have to do something that might ruffle some feathers? This is where we find Gideon in the book of Judges. Gideon, after lots of arguing with God, finally agrees to follow God's plan of action for his life, and he builds an altar, calling it Jehovah Shalom, the Lord our peace. Shalom, or peace, is defined as a freedom from strife, and strife is defined as a state of conflict. So therefore, Jehovah Shalom means the Lord who brings complete freedom from conflict. We only hear the name Jehovah Shalom one time in the Bible, in the story of Gideon. The Israelites were being persecuted by the Midianites, and they were so evil. But they turned from their evil and asked God for help. And so God, in trying to help them, calls upon Gideon. But Gideon was not exactly who you'd expect to be called by God for a situation like this. Gideon was fearful and doubted God's calling on his life. And when the angel came to tell him all of this information, he literally doubted it was God at all and asked for a sign. And boy, God gave him a sign. When Gideon presented an offering, God sent fire down from heaven and it completely consumed the offering Gideon had provided. And so, in Judges 6:22 through 24, he says, when Gideon realized that it was an angel of the Lord, he exclaimed, "Alas, sovereign Lord, I have seen the angel of the Lord face to face." But the Lord said to him, "Peace, do not be afraid, you are not going to die." So Gideon built an altar to the Lord and called it Jehovah Shalom, the Lord is peace. We learn through the story of Gideon that God showed himself as peace before Gideon was even put into the conflict. Jehovah Shalom is the only one who brings peace. All he asks is for us to wholeheartedly trust him, and he will do the rest. And he's not just a giver of peace, he truly is peace. So, as someone who tends to feel things very deeply, I can find myself falling into a state of conflict, not only with others, but with myself as well. So when I'm reminded of this name of God, I'm reminded that I can rely on Jehovah Shalom, the giver of peace. So I'd like to encourage you, this week, if you begin to feel yourself falling into a state of conflict, call upon Jehovah Shalom, the God who brings peace.